Most 24-year-olds are figuring out their first job. Diana Virgovicova raised $3 million in seed funding, manages 11 full-time employees, running pilot projects in Kenya, South Africa, Texas, and northern Canada, delivering clean water to 6,000 people across 3 continents. But that's not the crazy part.
My name is Diana, and I am 24 years old.
What made you jump into that?
When we came to Mumbai specifically, that was one of those moments when I saw completely polluted rivers and just people living alongside these rivers who were getting sick because of the water pollution. It really hit me that moment.
Most teenagers would have felt bad and moved on, but Diana went home and did something different.
You spent 3 years teaching yourself quantum chemistry.
So you're learning how to, model new molecules, design new molecule structures.
And that's what you did in your teenage years,
Yes,
basically.
that's what I did.
Okay.
At 17, she won the Stockholm Water Prize from the Swedish Royal Family, and she moved to London for boarding school.
I actually got kicked out from that high school because I decided that I didn't want to follow some of the school rules. I ended up finding the cheapest accommodation, which was a hostel.
In a very dangerous part of the city. And you're how old at this time?
Like 16.
But she kept going, and what she discovered changed everything.
Can you show me what this looks like?
Think of a polluted water, and we put this powder in, and we expose it to sunlight or LED, and then within 15 to 30 minutes, it can purify the water.
Amazing. How much do you need?
Maybe we would say 15 grams for 6,000 liters.
But getting investors to believe her, that was the hardest part.
I feel like there's a difference when a young woman and a young man are building companies. I feel like young men are celebrated as being young, but when there's a young woman building a company, she's being questioned.
So how do you go from a 14-year-old in Mumbai to a 24-year-old CEO managing $1 million business when everything is stacked against you?
The persistence, I think, is the key. I wouldn't claim that I'm the smartest person in the room, but I would claim that I'm the most persistent person in the room. And that's different.
In this episode, we're going to find out. This is Diana Virgovicova, the CEO and founder of Xatoms. Quick ask before we get into our episode. If you're not subscribed, hit that button right now. It's the simplest way to support what we're building, because every subscriber allows us to keep telling more Canadian founder stories, inspiring more people to take that jump to entrepreneurship and keeping our best builders here. We're showing the real path, the risks, the failures, the near-death moments from 0 to 100 million to $1 billion. So if you believe in a more ambitious Canada, if you love this country, if you think we need more people building here, subscribe. You're helping move this country forward. Let's go.
Diana, welcome to the Canadian Founder Spotlight Series.
Thank you so much.
For people that don't know you yet, can you tell us what's your name, how old are you, and what is Xatoms?
My name is Diana, and I am 24 years old, and Xatoms is 2 years old.
Your story is impressive enough, but your story, Diana, starts much earlier than this. And I want to kind of paint the picture for you a little bit, or paint the picture for the audience. You're 14 years old, you're backpacking in India with your mom. Take me back to that moment in Mumbai. Paint the picture for me. What street were you on? What did you see? What did you smell? What specific thing happened that you couldn't forget and changed the course of your life?
I think it was the way we did the backpacking, actually. So we had 300 euros, I think, that we wanted to spend for 1 month in India. We went completely independently, so no travel agencies. We only had the places we wanted to visit, and that was all across the country. So our means of transportation was public transport. We were using the cheapest train classes. So we were really living with the locals, with the population. We wanted to learn about the culture as much as possible. And the fact that we actually got to understand the culture and got to experience this opened our eyes, because we did not go just to expensive hotels, but we got to go to communities that were living the real life and that they were struggling. And when we came to Mumbai specifically, that was one of those moments when I saw completely polluted rivers and just people living alongside these rivers who were getting sick because of the water pollution. So it really hit me that moment. That was a very powerful moment of that 1 month trip with my mom to see this.
So you're backpacking with your mom in Mumbai. You had 300 euros to spend for a month. So it's like not a lot of money. So
It's actually a lot of money for India.
It's a lot of money for India. So
yes.
But anyway, you have to somewhat live like a local. So you're having like the real experience of what it's like to live there.
Yeah.
I guess like my first question is, not a lot of people would do that. And this isn't a part of our plan. Is this something like a passion from your mother of traveling? And did she want you to see the world? And like, what it's really like, where did that come from?
I've always wanted to travel, and we didn't have much money, but I convinced my mom because I'm the youngest sibling, so youngest child. So she wanted to travel as well, but because she had 3 kids, she couldn't. So when I started like convincing her that we can do this, I found a cheap flight, and then there was a very cheap flight that we found, and I was like, I'm gonna plan this. My mom doesn't speak English, so I wasn't barely speaking English at the time as well. So we only had like one phone without data, and it was a really crazy, wild experience. And it was our first time leaving Europe or like Slovakia. So we came to India, and we were going to go for 1 month, and no travel agency, like really like no data, no internet on the way. We always had to ask locals for the way or for train schedules. So it was, I would say like I'm super passionate about that, and I've been traveling ever since, every time I get opportunity.
So you were 14 and this was your idea.
Yes.
And you said, okay, let's go to India. And your mom's like,
exactly.
Yeah, let's do it. Did your mom always like back you up with things that you wanted to do? Was it like, sure, let's do it?
It took a very long time to convince her.
So you had to convince her?
Yes.
So you always had this in you?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so like now I've never been to Mumbai before. I've never seen tell me if you want to really put me in that situation, like what am I looking at? What am I seeing? Like what am I smelling? What's this experience like when you're looking at this river?
It's black. It smells really bad, and smells like the worst toilet experience you've ever had. And then
it's how many people are there in this river?
They're some of the biggest slums in the world. I think Mumbai is the most populated city.
And then there's a lot of people in this river?
That are living alongside, yes.
And you could see them bathing and stuff like that?
Yeah, sometimes in the mornings.
And this had a real impact on you?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, so Diana, I want to give you something. Here you go. And I would love for you just to react to this picture. And like, what does this picture make you feel?
Well, that was a picture taken in Calcutta specifically. So that's another city in India. And it's all good memories. I was actually, this child was given to me by the parents because they wanted to take a picture with me.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. And like, so it's like, it's a wild story. And I think what makes you different is most teenagers would have forgot about it in a day or a week. But you come home and you end up contacting your local university, and you spend 3 years teaching yourself quantum chemistry in your attic, which is just insane. Walk me through what that actually looked like. Like if there's an evening in your attic, say it's 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night in your village in Slovakia, you're a young teenager, like what are you actually doing? What does this look like?
Well, I would say when I was in school, I didn't have much fun. I always wanted to do more, and I wanted to do some research and work with the professor at university. So when I came back from India, there was a professor actually working at the best university in Slovakia, and he replied to my email, and he met me and he told me about his research in water. And then the entire department was very excited to help me. So there were actually multiple professors that would meet with me weekly. And that would mean that I could go every single time I would finish my high school to university to learn with them. And that was so much more interesting than spending time in school. Yeah. So then when I came back home, I could do also my independent research and work on the things I learned throughout the day.
And when you say independent research, so you come home from this trip, right? You're still like, 14, 15 at the time?
Yes.
And you reach out to these universities and you just say, oh, there's this problem. I want to solve it.
Mm-hmm.
How does that conversation go? They're like, oh, this is amazing. We have someone who's young and interested in this. We'll help you in any way we can. Like, how does that conversation even work?
Yeah, so I would send them email and I would say, I'm very interested in this problem. And they were very nice. Like, they were very open to helping and supporting young high school students.
And then in terms of you're taking this work, are you actually doing work in your attic? Like, is that what was happening?
Work is done on the computer, so on laptop, it's all computational at the time.
Sure. And so you're like on your computer in your attic and you're doing this stuff that I can't wrap my head around.
Yeah, so you're learning how to, model new molecules, design new molecule structures, do different calculations, and having fun with it.
And that's what you did in your teenage years.
Yes,
basically.
that's what I did.
Okay. So, but even before this, at 12 years old, you cold emailed Stephen Hawking, the French president, and scientists worldwide, and they actually like responded to you. When I was 12, my focus was like sports and video games. Like where my brain was at. Where did this incredible ambition and confidence come from? And like, what was happening in your childhood that made you think, yeah, I could just like email the most famous scientists in the world? Is it just like a belief in yourself, or like, where did that come from?
I think I've been raised by really powerful women. My mom, she always told me that, no matter where you came from or how old you are, like people are willing to support and they will listen to you. And so I wanted to try it when I was 12. And my dream was to go abroad and leave my village in Slovakia because I wanted to do research and pursue, science that can have impact on the world. And I thought that this was an interesting way to start.
For the people that have been around you, like your mother, and the people that like your family and close friends, how do they react now? Because like we're going to get to your other things that you've accomplished since then. But seeing what you've been able to do, how do they respond to it? Do they even wrap their heads around it, or they just like keep going? What's that response like?
My mom would say she's not surprised, I would say. She is like, she knew that like how hard I was working and, just all the nights I had to spend while all the kids were, having fun outside. But it's been hard, like, honestly, like when you leave as a person, leave as a young person. I left when I was 16, or like basically 15, turning 16, when I left Slovakia. So to go abroad, you really lose a lot of connections that you've had because you become a very different person. And the people that you've left behind you, like your friends, like you change when you're abroad and then you come back and then you don't know where you actually belong. So it's also weird. Sometimes people, many of my close friends or family like to support me, but sometimes there are people who are not that happy with your success as well. So that's really hard. And that's a probably Eastern European way of thinking, I would say.
What do you mean by that?
I know. I mean, like in Eastern Europe, like we are not very happy when people are successful, I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't celebrate people around?
Not really. Not like, for example, Kerem, who is from Turkey. Like for example, there were like articles that came out about my work and everything in Slovakia, and like so many bad mean comments people were commenting, and like things about Kerem, like when he published when they published thing about him, like people are like supportive, and then for like my stuff, people are saying like, oh, you must be like supporting Putin and weird stuff like this. I don't think we should add this, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know how to tell you, to be honest with you, like the people in Slovakia are not that supportive as you would think.
That's wild, because like I noticed the story right away. And to me, it's the opposite. I'm like, this is someone who needs to be celebrated. That's why I came here.
Well, I would say majority are very nice, but then
Uh-huh.
many of them are also like very mean comments.
Well, I think what happens when you grow, and if you're putting real intention behind that, and you're working hard on something that matters to you, sometimes those old relationships don't survive.
Exactly.
Because you do change.
Yeah.
And I've actually had people say that to me recently in the past like 6 months. Like, oh, you've changed. Yeah. You know? I have. You know what I mean? And it's because you're working towards something bigger. And I guess that's sometimes the consequence of that. But it's worth it.
It is. I mean, like, we change, and that's a good thing, right? Yeah.
Okay, so next question and next scenario. It's 3 a.m., you're 17, and you've been modeling molecules on your computer for three years now. Take me to that exact moment when you realized, if there was a moment, I don't know if this is true or not, where you realize that this one's different. That it's like, okay, you've discovered something. You've discovered something special. What happened? Was there a moment like that? And if so, like, what happened? And what did you see on your screen?
it's a long, like, you don't just like discover that instantly. It's not like you immediately see it. It's like it's a combination of different research and different calculations that I already from the beginning start showing you that this might be successful. But like it was a molecular structure where we did some calculations on that, and we were calculating this thing called band gap, which basically determines what's the energy this photocatalyst needs to be able to purify water successfully. And we found out that there was the visible spectrum, and it was successful in that spectrum. So that's what I found out. And that's when I was able to say, okay, this molecule is actually going to be able to purify water when exposed to sunlight. It was all computational at the time, and that's when I entered the competition in Sweden. But again, very interesting thing is I entered the competition in Slovakia, actually, with the same thing, which did not win, but it won the world round in Sweden a couple of months later.
And so, okay, so, but wait, was there a moment, just so I understand, so there was a moment where you're like, okay, this is now coming together. And like, I see that as like, because I've been in business, and there's moments where you're like, oh, I got something. And there's like this real momentum that did you feel that?
I feel like I felt that when I won in Sweden, because that was the first time someone actually recognized that this is important, you know. When I won the award in Sweden, that definitely was like one of the most life-changing moments of that research, because I realized, okay, there were professors who came from Japan, US, who were reviewing this paper and were asking me questions, and they gave me the award, and they were genuinely impressed by what I did.
Sure. So because people won't know what this is, this award. So this is the Stockholm Water Prize from the Swedish Royal Family. And this is like a world-renowned, prestigious award.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like this was the moment where you realized this isn't like a project anymore. Like this could actually change the world. Is that what goes through your mind when you win this award? Like I could really change the world with the work that I'm doing?
That, and also that I could get a scholarship to go to study abroad.
And that's the key. And was that always your goal? It's like, hey, I want to go study abroad. Was the goal, I want to change the world and clean the world's water supply and clean the river of Mumbai? Or was it, hey, I just want to get out of Slovakia? And both are good answers. And I just want to go study abroad and better myself.
I think that if I stayed in Slovakia, I wouldn't be able to be where I'm today. So those two things are completely interconnected. And I knew that if I was not able to get a scholarship, I wouldn't be able to afford to go study abroad. So when I won this award, I knew that I was going to be able to achieve my goals abroad, because that was the only way to achieve the goals, was to leave Slovakia.
Okay, cool. So you now have, I think, eight patented materials.
It's patent pending.
8 patented pending materials, right? You can eliminate E. coli, mercury, pesticides, heavy metals using just sunlight or LED light. Can you show me what this looks like? And if you could explain this to me, because I have zero scientific background at all, just explain this to me like I'm 10 years old.
Yes, so we have these are the materials that you mentioned, one of them. And so the way they work is all these materials that you currently see, they were actually discovered using computer. So think of a molecule, like a picture of a molecule, and what this was in the beginning. And then we get it to the sperm in the lab where we are sitting right now, where we synthesize these molecules to these powders, and then we do all the tests on the heavy metals, the dyes, the pathogens, where we prove that they work, and we put it into, we have a thing of a polluted water, and we put this powder in, and we expose it to sunlight or LED, and then within 15 to 30 minutes, it can purify the water.
Amazing. Okay. So this powder in your hand, you put it in the water and it cleans the water for someone who has no science background.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How much of the powder do you need to clean a body of water? Is it barrels of the stuff? Is it a little bit? Like, how much do you need?
So actually this powder, the way it's applied is as a coating. So we coat our surfaces. So the surface coating can last for up to 12 months. And so that means that the water can be passing through the surface again and again for 12 months. So think of maybe we would say 15 grams for 6,000 liters.
Sure.
of the water.
So you don't need a lot.
Yes, exactly.
Which is even better.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to go to like the next part of this story. And I want to talk about like what happened to you after you won the Stockholm Water Prize. So now I have more context. You wanted to get out of Slovakia. You have this dream of studying abroad, but you ended up in London. And you ended up living in a hostel with 3 strangers in a very dangerous part of the city. And you're how old at this time?
Like 16.
You're 16. And you actually hid the fact that you were living in this hostel from your high school because you couldn't afford anything better and you didn't want them to know. Can you just like tell me that story and what that was like?
Yeah, so I actually initially got a scholarship for high school to study in high school from Slovakia for 2 years. But the first year I ended up getting kicked out from school because I would not want, I decided not to follow some of the school rules.
In London, this was?
Yeah, this was in the UK.
Yes.
I got a 2-year scholarship to study in high school in the UK. The first high school, I actually got kicked out from that high school. And why it happened was because I decided that I didn't want to follow some of the school rules, which included that we were not allowed to leave school area for a couple of months. And so I found out a way how to do this by going for my own walks when no one was watching. And they caught me and they kicked me out after the first year. And that was the summer before I won the Stockholm Junior Water Prize, actually. So they told me that I should go back to Slovakia, but I said I didn't want to. So I started emailing different high schools across the UK, asking them to give me the second year. And was over, I emailed probably over 300 to 400 high schools. And then one of them replied to me, which was in central London. There was all girls school this time. It was a day school. But they told me that I needed to find my own accommodation from September the following year.
And you didn't have your scholarship at this point?
It was a scholarship. It was actually, the school was probably more expensive, but it was a day school. So they didn't provide boarding.
Yeah.
So it was a day school. So it was in Sloane Square. So it's one of the like highest ranked areas in London, and near Chelsea, London. So I would go to the school, which is like in one of the most posh areas of London. And I did not want to tell them that I couldn't afford the accommodation because they told me that they could only pay for the school fees. It's because it's a day school. So I kind of did not tell them the truth because I knew that they wouldn't accept me if they knew that I couldn't afford.
So what did you end up doing?
I ended up finding the cheapest accommodation, which was a hostel it was like 2 hours north from the school. And
2 hours?
Yeah, sometimes it would take that long by bus. Okay. So I would have to wake up every day like 5 a.m. just to get to school on time.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And so I ended up booking a hostel where I had to share a room with several other people, like strangers, adults. I was underage at the time. So adults, people who were working different jobs in London, but also did not make much in those jobs. Or some people who were unemployed as well and taking drugs. And so I was staying with these people because there was the cheapest accommodation and the only one that I could afford in London. Yeah.
How did you stay safe in this environment? Or did you not feel safe at all?
You just accept it and you just like become numb. I don't know, like you just don't think about it.
Were you scared?
Well, maybe like first 2 nights, but then I realized that the people are normal. Like they're normal people coming from different, situations in their life, and they're all just trying to make their living.
So then you're in this hostel. For how long were you living there?
Like 8 months.
So then 8 months and you're going to school. And then the next step in the story, so you finish high school.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Stockholm Water Prize. And is at this point you decide to come to Canada? Is this the transition?
When I was still in that high school, I started applying for different scholarships because I had the Stockholm Junior Water Prize award.
Yeah.
And I applied for different scholarships and wanted to come to North America. So I applied to over 20 universities in the US, 1 in Canada, 5 in the UK, including Imperial College London, where I got accepted, and then Princeton in the US as well. I got in, but then one of them gave me full scholarship, which was University of Toronto, the only Canadian university I applied for. There was this scholarship called Lester B. Pearson International Scholarship, which selects 37 students from all around the world of any degree, basically. And it gives us full scholarship for like state, for the school fees, for books, for travel. That I got that all covered by this.
So why did you pick U of T and why did you pick Canada? Was it the full scholarship or was it the program or was it the only one that provided the full scholarship? Like what was the reason? Why did you pick Canada?
Several reasons. So definitely the money was one part so that I would be able to come and not worry about, working part-time job, because I've heard about some people that were on the scholarship in the UK that they finished. And then when they went to university, they had to work like 2 or 3 part-time jobs just to be able to afford the school fees in the UK, which are much lower than in Canada. So I felt like that would actually, if I did that, I would not be able to do anything extra. And I wanted to work on my own thing rather than, work a part-time job. So I thought that University of Toronto would provide me this opportunity. And also, just like how international the city is and the research that's going on here, it's a world-class institution.
And what were you hoping to find here? Like because now you're on another journey, another step in terms of achieving your ambitions and your dreams. But when you're like, okay, I'm going to Canada now, I got my scholarship, I'm going to U of T. Like what were you hoping for at that point?
Definitely more open-minded people. Like I felt like I in either like living in Slovakia or like even in the UK, like you can already see from the application for university that the North American schools care about the extracurricular activities and the things you've done. And in Europe, it's more like focused on GPA or grades. And this is what I liked when I was coming here, that they actually were going to be able to support me on the things that I was passionate about. And I was looking to do, get involved in startups and entrepreneurship. And I felt like it's not as big for university students in Europe as it's here. And U of T is one of the best ones when it comes to startups.
Was that always the thought? Is that, hey, I'm going to put my life into this research and I'm going to turn it to a company? Is that where your brain was at?
I think I became definitely much more entrepreneurial when I was in my last year of high school, because I went to school with some of the, the richest kids of the richest families. Like there was a girl who was living in the most expensive British house who was my classmate. Her house is valued over 500 million pounds. So those are the people that I would come across. No one in my family was entrepreneurial, but the people that I was living with for 1 year, every single day I would go to the school and see these kids, and then I would have to come to this hostel. So those were 2 different worlds I was able to see. And I saw that like if you're an entrepreneur, you really can have a lot of influence, a lot of power. And I felt like this is the way I want to go.
And I guess that's the benefit of, we talked about like going outside your comfort zone.
Exactly.
And growth, because then you see this different way of living. And if you never did that to begin with, it wouldn't have put you on this path. See these people that are living these lifestyles that you couldn't dream of, and then gives you that ambition and belief to kind of go for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, when it came time to start raising money, you were told by advisors to hide your age. Don't tell investors that you're in your early 20s. That to me is wild. When you were told that, like, were you insulted by it? Were you angry? Or do you just think, hey, this is a part of the game and I have to do this?
I do agree, but I agreed with them. I was not questioning it. I feel like there's a difference when a young woman and a young man are building companies. I feel like young men are celebrated as being young, but when there's a young woman building a company, she's being questioned and her credibility is being questioned. And this is something that I've seen so many times. So I was not surprised that I was told this, but also that's something that I already thought of without even them giving me as an advice,
Have you been doubted a lot?
No, I don't think so, because I think it's just my personality that I don't let people talk shit over.
I guess my question is, like, with you being a young female entrepreneur, did you feel that negativity or a lack of belief from people, and the fact that you're so young, you're a woman, when you're presenting or whatever scenario you're in, do you feel like you have to overcome that, or do you just not care?
I mean, people have biases. They can look at me, they can think whatever they want, but the moment I open my mouth, they probably change their opinion.
Sure. Okay.
I mean, like, it doesn't really matter if the woman is 40 or if she's 20. Like, it really matters about, like, the way she speaks and the way, the authority, Like, I think it's something I've learned because my mom is a teacher. And, like, there's, like, I'm going to give this as an example. So, like, there are some teachers where the kids can, like, talk over them and do whatever, and they don't respect them. But my mom, like, the moment she would walk into a room, like, everyone would respect her, even though they saw her for the first time. So, like, it really, just the way you, like, hold yourself, I feel like.
Command the attention.
Yeah.
How did she teach you that?
She would take me, like, to her classes when I was not even, like, 5 years old, and I would see this, So I just, like, by seeing it.
So were you just perceiving this? You're like, wow, look at my mom. She commands the room so well. And so you just witnessing it? Or did she take you to the side after and say, hey, Diana, here's how I've gone about this and here's how you should do it? Or is it just you being observant?
I think I was observing, yes. Because I grew up with people who were, like, my siblings are older and the youngest, and grew up with a lot of adults. And I like to observe. I like to listen. I don't usually speak that much. I like to just absorb everything that's happening around me.
Well, you're a scientist, right?
Yeah.
I guess, like, I'm, like, really fascinated by this, like, relationship with your mom, because you've mentioned it a few times and how, like, impactful she was to you. But it doesn't sound like it was, I don't want to say it was almost like it wasn't too vocal. It was just leadership by actions.
Yeah.
Versus like, oh, here's a hard lesson for you, Diana. Let's have a sit. Let's have a drink. Let's have over the meal, giving you, like, these life lessons. It's you just observing her and learning from her actions versus her lessons.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the fact that we want to travel together, that's the best gift that she could have given me. Like, just being able to see the world, that was amazing. Like, I was able to see so many things that's changed me and changed the way I'm living my life. Yeah.
And then back to your age, did you ever reveal your age? Like, I know we're talking now, and obviously this is going to be on YouTube, but do you reveal your age today? Or, like, how do you navigate that?
The age of all the co-founders was revealed last December when we made it on the Forbes 30 under 30.
Yes.
So it was 23, 22, and 21. Yeah.
And then how did people react to that? Was it as negative as you thought? Or was it like, oh, it's not a big deal and she's proven herself now?
The investors already invested the money, so they couldn't do anything about that. But they were, like, some of them are, like, it was fun, like, some fun conversations. Like, someone would say, like, when I was 23, I was looking at how the light turns on in the fridge, like, stuff like this. Like, those are the things that the investors told us, but, well, they already invested, so they couldn't do anything about that.
Well, it's like you're 23, but you have all of this experience already, So I think it obviously goes a long way, because most people aren't as serious about their life, even at 23, versus the way you were serious about your life at 13. So I think that's people kind of need to understand and realize.
I think that, like, we got really motivated because actually 2 years ago we got the 776 Climate Fellowship from Alexis Ohanian, and the founder of Reddit, and he was selecting the people had to be from 18 to 23.
Sure.
So he was giving 100K to these founders, 20 founders, and even, like, TL Fellowship, for example, also selects, like, people who are, like, I think under 22. So it really depends person by person. Like, some people are very open to it. I feel like many founders in the US are young. Maybe here it's a bit more, people are a bit older. So it really depends on who you're talking to.
I think, like, if from a branding perspective, from, like, a marketing side of things, I would lean into it, because it's something that's going to get a lot of attention. And to your point, fuck them. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have that mentality of, like, I don't really care what you say. So I know you don't need my advice at all, but I'd lean into it and have fun.
It's a good advice, yeah.
I think have fun with it, because the last thing you want to be from a brand perspective is mediocre or normal. And if this is an ability to stand out, which it obviously is, lean into it. And if there's people that hate on that, perfect, even better. you need haters, like to build like a really powerful brand. You need people that say, oh, it's a negative thing. And it's just going to feed into on the opposite side. If you have people that are hating on it, you're going to have people that love you even more.
Yeah, that's a good advice. Thank you.
You recently closed a $3 million pre-seed round, right?
Yes.
Congratulations, obviously.
Thank you.
But what people don't know is you had to pitch over 400 times to close this round, if I have that right. 400 times. Put this perspective, that's more than one pitch meeting every single day for more than a year. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. So if you could just take me inside like the hardest pitch meeting, like not the worst one, but was there one pitch you're like, oh, this is just brutal? And if you could just talk me through that, because I've never actually been through the experience myself, so I'd love to hear your perspective and hear your story.
Was there are different ways, the investors are either going to reject you in the call, they are never going to get back to you, they will block you, or they may proceed and they may ask to see your data room. I would say at the beginning, no one wanted to see our data room because no one wanted to everyone thought we were too early. So although it was pretty interesting, we were still too early.
Sure.
We did have the advantage that we got $100K from Alexis, the founder of Reddit. That helped us a lot, I would say. But initially it was very hard to pitch, and we were not that actively raising. We just were hopping on some calls. Then when we got the Startup Fest last July, we won the best female, the best student, and the best overall, which was matched by BDC, which was $500,000 in pitch competitions in single day. That's when so many people started reaching out to us who heard us speaking before. But now, there's a FOMO. Everyone wants to know who is this company that won all the prizes from all independent judging panels. And that helped us also a lot. So we did start with pitching it back then, but the valuation wasn't just there yet. So we wanted to increase the valuation a bit to be able to raise more money on a higher valuation. So we did this competition called Holt Prize last August. It was a 1 month. We were living in a castle in the UK with other teams from around the world. And we got to become the top 6, which was we were pitching for $1 million on a stage. And we did not end up winning the competition. We were second, and we got zero money.
No.
The first one gets $1 million USD.
Stop.
So that made us really angry because we knew that we were supposed to win this. We knew. We're just better. We're just so much better, which we...
Why didn't you win then?
I was back in the castle this year as a mentor, and it's just judging is so subjective,
It's just an opinion. It's not
the only thing you're gonna see how successful the startup is if you look at them a year or 2 years later. Sure. You're not gonna know, So, but what we did is the same evening, I told the team that we're gonna raise the $1 million by the end of the year, and then we raised $3 million within the 6 months. And because we pushed so much and we were we're going to do this, we did not win this $1 million. And I'm so happy we didn't win the $1 million because it pushed us so hard. The big failure made us work so much harder to prove everyone that we were supposed to win this thing. And,
Do you have a chip on your shoulder?
What do you mean?
A chip on your shoulder is it's when you lose or something, or you have a failure in your past. And you use that, or if someone's doubted you, and you use that as a motivator to work even harder and succeed.
I think I am a very competitive person, yes.
Competitive person?
Oh, yes, very competitive.
Okay, and then going back to the Stockholm Water Prize.
Yes.
That was very important. And did you use that as your belief to then go to these other pitch competitions and win? Was that the foundation of everything?
I think so, yes, for sure. But I did a lot of different competitions when I was still in Slovakia. I would do chemistry research, geography research, math research competition where I would try to, speak and pitch ideas. And initially I was not good, but then you learn the way to win.
So that's actually my next question. What's the difference, in your opinion, from your first pitch to like number 400 and how you pitch today?
To pitch to investors or pitch on the competition?
In general, I guess you can answer both.
Like the competitions we've been winning,
sure.
most of them.
Yeah.
But the pitch to investors is different though.
So if, say you're pitching to investors, right? What's the difference between like when your first time they said no, like your very first pitch, to the one where if number 400, you finally get someone to say yeah?
Yeah, well, we had no idea what we're doing on the first one. Like we did not know what pitch deck meant. We didn't know what are the exact slides you're supposed to use in the pitch deck, what things you're supposed to cover. So we had no idea. None of us. So yeah, it's very advanced now. It's very different.
And what is that thing that's different?
Just like now we can call it a company, and back then it was just an idea, like a high school project.
So it was a high school project at the time, right? When you first...
No, like a high school project.
Like
Xatoms
one.
Was founded 2 years ago, yeah.
Got it. So was there like a specific moment where this transition from a passion project to like, okay, this is going to be a company now? Like, was like when you came to Canada, or was it before? Like, what was that moment?
I think that it was because actually when I came to Canada, I was trying different things. So I did this Next 36, Next Canada. Have you heard? It's like they pick 36 university students to work on their startups. And I did an e-commerce platform. So I wasn't really like immediately wasn't sure if I was going to do this as a company. And this e-commerce thing, I didn't like it that much because I wasn't really passionate about it. And then when I came up with this idea 2 years ago, about like combining quantum chemistry and AI for material discovery and giving it name Xatoms, that was like, we got like the investment from Alexis within 3 weeks of me coming up with this name.
Sure.
So that was very fast. So sometimes you like work on things and you're not passionate about it, but you just think it's gonna, generate a lot of money. In the end, it doesn't. And sometimes the things just come so naturally. And this Xatoms did come very naturally because I really enjoyed it.
So you like enjoy what you're doing this research. So what made you go, because that Reddit competition, like what made you jump into that then?
It was like an open call for climate tech companies. And the things I was doing, I felt like the e-commerce, like when I was pitching it, it also like matters for me. Like if you are working on something meaningful, or if you're going to talk about it on a stage, is someone going to come to you and say, this is so inspiring and I'm so inspired? Like that matters for me. If I'm building such thing, and I wanted to build something which was like that, because I was also doing Web3 before that, like crypto stuff. Sure. So I was trying different things, yeah.
But it didn't have that same meaning to you?
Yeah, absolutely not.
And it was this competition, this Reddit competition, and that was the moment you're like, okay, this is it, I'm going all in on this?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you're managing 5 PhD scientists now, most of them much older than you, more accredited. How did you learn to lead people who on paper have more expertise than you? And how has that experience been?
I think every single one of us has different qualities. And even though these, our Xatoms team members, are super high scientifically and have so much knowledge, many of them would not be able to lead businesses, So it's all like everyone comes with a different skill set, and managing the people while we try to have like a company get together. We most recently went to escape room together, or like a laser tag, like
sure.
Just I want to have an open communication where everyone is not scared or, to say what they think, give, feedback, positive or negative. And that was very important for us to build a company culture. And I think we as a team have been managing this pretty well. But obviously, like sometimes, there's problems as everywhere.
Sure. Do you get nervous managing people that are older than you? Is that a challenge for you, and do you have to overcome that? Or does it just become natural and you don't...
It became natural now.
Yeah. But at first, was it concerning or...
I don't think it was, no.
Awesome. So you always had that belief and it would never really bother you.
Because like that's your idea in the first place, I think that's just something that I really liked was I felt honored that these people wanted to come on my team and wanted to spend their time working for me, basically. That was the thought I was having. And then managing them, I felt like I did not feel like that was stressful because we are all working towards the same goal.
Cool. Cool. How'd you recruit them? Is that difficult or somewhat easy?
When we open the applications, we got over 800 applications for those positions. So we had to go through all of them. We have conducted around 60 interviews, and then from those, each of these people had 3 rounds of interviews. So I would be going to the last one. So we had our CFO and our CTO doing the first 2 rounds, and I would be just doing basically it's like a vibe check at the end. And we also had professors helping us. So the chemistry professors from University of Toronto who are helping us to review their resumes and tell us like if this person was good for the specific position. So it was a long process, but we found really good people. We found some people who, are all, like super qualified, and they could find, jobs that are paying them even like 3 times more because they could be making so much more money with their qualification, but they still decide to go work on a startup because they've had all these experiences working in those large companies, and now is their time to finally work in a smaller team because they have bigger say and they can make a bigger difference. So that's why we got some really good people on our team.
Is a big reason why they come here is because of the mission to clean? Is it the impact that they could have?
I think so, yeah, for sure. That was like one of our number one things we asked. Like, why do they care about Xatoms? Like, we really cared about people who have done their research when they came to the interview.
Have you ever contacted the government in India? Like that river in Mumbai. Like, is that going to be like a big milestone for you? Is that a part of like your dream to go?
We're actually going to India, to Jaipur in January, beginning of January. We've been working with Thai Toronto. Have you heard?
Yeah, I have actually.
Yeah, we won one of their competitions back in May. And now they've been supporting us a lot on like our research and all the opportunities. And we are going with them to India next year. But yeah, we have upcoming projects actually in Indonesia, where we just spent 2 weeks in the last month. So we are working there with communities also to provide clean water, as well as work with like different mine sites in Indonesia. So we've met the vice minister of sustainable housing, for example, when we were back there. So like a lot of big projects lined up for us.
What project are you most excited about right now?
I'm very excited about the projects we have in Canada lined up for like the industrial water purification, like a very large scale, because we've proven the drinking water, but the large scale water purification, that's going to be a big thing for us. And we are looking to work with mines, so different mines to remove the heavy metals. We're looking to do like rare metal extraction as well with these photocatalysts. Cool.
That's awesome. And like that's really important, because then you have these big industries that are normally like big polluters, and you could help them move to that next phase.
Yeah.
So that's really important. So like I want to have a little bit of fun with this next one, and like this might not work or it might. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But before we go any further, I just want to do something super quick, and it's going to be like a rapid fire age test. You know what I mean? So I want to kind of like mention the age, and if you can come back with the thing that you accomplished at that age. Okay? So let's start age 12.
Yeah, so I did contact Stephen Hawking and asked him what he thought about global warming and different types of politicians and scientists.
And he responded?
Yes.
And what did they say?
From their office, they told me their opinion, like what they were doing what they thought about climate change. And the politicians said what they were doing to mitigate climate change in their countries.
Okay, so that's 12. 14, age 14.
I went to India, and I fully planned a trip with my mom, backpacked India, and had, big realization of like solve water pollution, and decided that I wanted to solve this problem.
Okay, 17.
That was the Stockholm Junior Water Prize.
19.
Came to Canada, started computer engineering degree, and started working on different types of companies, like grew my community here in Canada, like different. I wanted to become part of different entrepreneurship communities, came here without connections. So really just tried to settle here.
Okay, 21.
I got into the 776 Climate Fellowship, and Xatoms was born. Yeah.
That's when you started Xatoms.
Yes.
Okay, and then 23.
raised $3 million and had 11 full-time employees.
And then when you accomplish one of these big things, who's the first person you call?
My mom, still.
And then her response when you say like, hey, I did this. Is she back home? So
She's still back home, but she goes with me to a lot of places. We just came from G20 in South Africa, where I was pitching and won the competition. So she comes with me, and now I'm going to Saudi Arabia next week, and she's coming with me for the World Entrepreneurship Cup. So I always take her.
And like when you tell her one of these things or you give her an update, she's like, okay, sure. Like it's just like another Tuesday, or how does she respond?
Happy, but it's been just happening so often now that she's like, okay, nice.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Does she ever tell you just to relax, or is she like, keep going?
She might think that I have a little bit of a hyperactivity.
True. But she just says, but she wants you to keep.
Yeah. Like, I mean, she knows that I like what I'm doing, so.
Okay, so Diana, you're 24 now. You've already accomplished more than most people do in a lifetime. I want you to close your eyes. It's 2030. You're 28. Paint me a picture. Where is Xatoms? What have you built? And how many people have access to clean water because of what you created?
Yeah, so we would like Xatoms to become a leader in the water purification space. And we would like to impact, I think by 2030, over 3 million people with the clean water.
Okay, amazing. And then you mentioned to me previously that you're potentially going to be working with Indigenous communities in Northern Canada on boil water advisories. Can you help me and people understand the problem that these communities are facing today and how you would fix it?
Yeah, so the Indigenous communities in Canada are still, many of them don't have access to clean and safe drinking water. And it's often because their households are very, are like would say far from each other, like they would need individual household solutions. So for individual households, and I would say the government, has been a bit better at this to try to provide them with clean drinking water, but it's still a huge problem, especially up north. So it is difficult to, because the Indigenous communities have lost a lot of hope when it comes to these types of solutions, but also they've lost the trust. And the way you work with them is you need to build the trust first. Yeah. So even when you get on these calls with them, some of the Indigenous leaders, it's very different than getting on a call with a potential corporate partner, because what they really care about is the trust. Everything goes aside, the money goes aside. And so that's why they, for example, want to work with companies that are 51% owned by Indigenous people.
Really?
Yes. So usually that's usually one of the reasons they don't want to talk to you. So there's a way to build a trust, and that takes a time. So it's not just like we have a solution, here you go, use this. They may not accept it, and it's a different way of working with this.
Sure. How are you or are you overcoming that?
We speak with the Indigenous leaders. We have a first call, then they have to come to someone who is higher within their community, who is like some like the older representative that's not using computer, and then they have to get approval from them. And so that's how we've been doing that. Like we've been that's why we build a diverse team of people as well, to show them that we really care about the diversity and supporting communities and marginalized communities. But it's a slow process. But we see that they see our potential, and we're looking forward to working with them.
And if you were able to help them get over this trust barrier, what would that mean from like an impact perspective, like their daily life? If you could just summarize really quickly in like 10, 20 seconds, what's their life now in terms of the availability of clean water and how they get it versus what it would be if they partner with Xatoms? Well,
many of the Indigenous people said that actually, yeah, in those communities, alcohol is cheaper than clean water.
Sure.
So I think that's something we would like to change, and we would like to make the clean water accessible to them, and also, especially for like when they are showering, just to being able to live normal lives. And we believe they can do that. And also just by working with the mine sites, for example, in Northern Ontario, like also many of these mine sites are one of the reasons why the indigenous communities don't have clean water, because it gets to underground water from heavy metals, cyanide pollution. So that's something that we've been working on with the mine sites as well, just to remove these contaminants. And that's also going to help the communities that are living alongside these mines.
And it's super interesting. I'm looking forward to following your journey and seeing the impact you have. I'm confident you're going to, and I can't wait to see that happen. So I want to try something, again, have a little bit of fun. So I'm thinking about that 14-year-old girl in Mumbai standing in front of the Black Rivers. If you had like a time machine and you can go back and talk to her, knowing everything that was about to happen, the 3 years in the attic, the rejection, the 400 meetings, living in the London hostel, the loneliness, the doubt, the being told to don't reveal your age, to getting funded, to building Xatoms now, what would you tell her, and what would she need to hear?
First of all, I wouldn't want to change anything. So I would just want her to know that it's going to be a lot of fun, but also very hard. And just like every single thing that, that's good requires a lot of hard work. So like the people who think that you're not capable of doing and achieving things that you want to achieve, well, that's their opinion, but you're going to prove them wrong and eventually. So that's what I would tell her. But I would just let her be, because I know that she's going to get there.
That's cool. Would you actually talk to her or just leave her be? Like if
I would leave her, let
her go.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's like butterfly effect. You could change the whole course. Okay. So next question. So you won 5 competitions. You raised $3 million. You got into Google's accelerator. You traveled to over 108 countries. That's incredible. You're literally attempting to save the planet while building a multi-million-dollar business. But for someone listening who says, Diana, you're exceptional. Like, you're amazing. That's great. But I can't do this. How would you respond, or what would you tell them?
I would say, honestly, looking at the conditions I came from, like if I can do it, I think many people can do it as well. But what really matters is the persistence. The persistence, I think, is the key. Like if someone tells you no, you come 1,000 times back to tell them, no, you're wrong. Like it's yes, the persistence. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't claim that I'm the smartest person in the room, but I know I would claim that I'm the most persistent person in the room. And that's different. Yeah.
Okay, super cool. So similar to that, if a 17-year-old girl from a small village anywhere in the world, Slovakia, Kenya, even like Canada, a small community in Canada, if she's watching this and thinking, I want to solve a big problem, but she doesn't know where to start, what's the first thing that she should do tomorrow morning?
It's hard because sometimes when we are in a system, like for example, I was lucky that my mom and I went we went to travel, but in those systems, like as I explained to you, I did not win the competition in Slovakia, although it was the same research I won with in Sweden. It's hard. Like these systems, like it's just, they're so conservative, and the people who are leading these systems, they don't want to let these good creative kids to be exceptional, because they like them to be average or like not to speak much, not to ask many questions. So you need to overcome that, and it's really hard. I would say that's very hard if I have nowhere else, to get the inspiration from. So I would say focus on one thing and become best at it and be persistent towards your goals. See, like, although there's going to be so many people who are not, going to tell you that you're not going to achieve this, or it's too difficult, you're too young, just keep going after that and think bigger than you possibly can. Think outside of that village. Think outside of that country, because if you're going to stay there and just think within the village, then it's going to be super hard. And I'm talking from my own experience.
Just get out. Get out, think big and get out.
Yes.
Okay, super cool. So like last question, if someone's listening to this right now and like they're stuck in their day job and they have an idea, but they're scared to pursue it, and they think they're too young or too old or too inexperienced or don't have the right background or the right connections, they've got every excuse in the world, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that maybe ask yourself a question, like, if this was your last day and you cannot wake up tomorrow, is this who you would like to be at the end of your life? Or like, would you be proud of yourself? And you never know how much time you have left. So why don't you take every single day as it's possibly your last one and do everything you can to be happy with your life? And when you go sleep, smile about the things you've done, not be angry at the whole world around you, because the only person who can make a difference is you. Yeah.
I think it's beautiful. And I think there's something really important, the distinction there that you touched upon, which is maybe it's not about happy. Maybe it's about being proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're not happy when you're working really hard, you know? But at the end of the day, when you do work hard, even if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, you know, you did what you could and you put your effort out there and you had the guts to actually go for something. So maybe that's what it is. When you're in those final moments, being proud of what you actually did. And maybe that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, Diana, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for answering my random DM, which is like awesome. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
I think that's everything.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much as well.